Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we are gonna be talking about the fiddle leaf, not the fiddle leaf fig. Today we are gonna talk about the Benjamin ficus. Okay, Benjamin ficus. I don't even know what I'm talking. Okay, so what do you need to know about this plant? First of all, it's one of my favorite plants because it allows you to learn about propagation, a little bit about manipulating a plant, um, and it also teaches you about how to take care of plant with pests because this is a pest magnet. Okay, we'll start with propagation. So what you do is you take a cutting from a branch from a plant, and you just put it in water, and then you just let the root develop. This has been propagating for, I would say, maybe a few months. So as you can see, it has a lot of roots. Um, when the root starts to grow, it is nice and white, and then the more you leave it in water, it sort of turns brown. But that the roots is okay; it's still healthy. It makes a new growth point right here, and this is due to the yellowing is humidity because it's not overwatering. Um, it's in water, so it's not underwatering. It's not overwatering. It's humidity and also nutrients. I do when I know I'm gonna leave a cutting in water for a long time. I do dilute some liquid fertilizer and put it in. This is just a rotted piece, and put it into the water, and I leave it for maybe a couple of hours, and then I just change the water, just so that the root don't get burned. Now with this plant, like I started in the intro, it's a pest magnet. Um, the pest that likes to attack this plant in my um, home is spider mites and scale. The very first plants that I got that I took most of these cuttings from was a tree, and I have basically two of them. One is lives in my bathroom, and one lives in my office, and they both attract scale. I'm forever fighting scale with these plants, and once you have it, get prepared to be battling with scales for the probably as long as you keep this plant, and try not to excuse me, mix it too much with the rest of your population, because if it's attracted to scale, you could end up having scales in all your plants. So that's why one is in my office, and there's very little other plants that seem to be attractive to scale in my space. So it's okay there. And again, the bathroom is really where I go and rehab plants that end up with scales or spider mites. So this, I had an attack of spider mites. So, which is another reason why I haven't really potted this plant yet. Is when that happens, I take a bowl with dish soap and water, and I just dunk this whole part here in the soapy mix, and I leave it there for hours. That will kill the most of the spider mites, and then I rinse it off, and then I put this plant in semi-isolation. So as you can see, nice root development. This plant is so easy. The way that the roots develop, this makes it ideal for bonsai, because then you could spread out the roots, and so that you could create like a shallow base for it. So this is one of the plants that they really like to do bonsai with. So in this propagation cup, there's two of them. And yeah, this one is okay. I'm trying to, my camera's not that great, so I don't think you can really see it. But there's little bumps on this plant, and those little bumps are scales. So a little later on, I'll show you how I get rid of those. Scales, unlike spider mites, are hard to, you can't just dunk it in water and then have the scale die off. Some of it do, but the stronger, the mature scale, you have to scrape off. So, okay. So going from this, I would pot it up. This also had, whoops, put it right here. This also had spider mite infestation. As you can see, the leaves are a little, it's got all these dots and things. So it's not like a nice solid green. It just has some of the damage from the scale. All these small little dots. So what I did with this plant, because it's not in water, so I would take a little zip-up rag, put this part in the zip-up bag, and then flip it over and dunk this whole area in the soapy water mix. Let me see. I'm just checking for scale on this one. So far, so good. Because what happened is that as the plant mature, it gets more of a woody. I don't know if you can see, but it gets more of a woody stem, and the scales are brown. The stem is brown, so unless you go on and come very closely, it's hard to detect the scale at that point. And then this is my attempt at bonsai. So basically what I like to do is I like to just put one branch in. And when I put the branch and then I manipulate it, so as you can see, there was a cut right here. I cut it right here to sort of create more branching. So let me just turn around. So this is what it looks like. So you have this branch coming out here and some more branching on this side. As it grows, I cut it out so here because the branch was coming out this way. So I want more of a nice canopy on this tree that I'm trying to create here. As this gets a little older, I will probably remove this branch right here and propagate it so that this tree is nice and more aesthetically pleasing. This branch might also go, but here's the thing with these branches, because you can see, as you can see, they're very flexible. So what you could do is sort of I use a paper clip or a tie or twine and just sort of direct the branch as to where you want it to go, because it can, as long as you're careful with it, or a piece of wire even, and then the branch will harden in the position that you put it. So this is what one of the reasons why I really like this this plant. That's the Benjamin ficus, the Ficus Benjamina. Again, I will have to go through carefully this whole plant. I have to do that possibly once a month, just so that I can get rid of the scale. I don't know if you can see it. I think somewhat. I'm going to use so right here. Right here, there's a little brown, right here, there's a little brown bump. That's a scale. Because the stem is all green, and then you see this little bump there. So what I do in this case is, I'm just going to move it out of the frame for a little bit. Alcohol. This is from Walmart. It could be from anywhere. cheap and cheerful. Dollar Tree has them too. So I just put a little bit of alcohol in a receptor in a dish. I dip it, and then I just uh, where to go? Where to go? They're all over the place. Actually, there's quite a few. Okay, there we go. If you could see right here, there's a little bump, a little brown bump. So the whole stem is green except for this right here. So what I do is I just keep rubbing the alcohol on it. I don't know if you can see, but there's this little brown spot here on the Q-tip, and that's the scale. So I'm mindful that I don't put back the scale on it. When the scale prefer the young and the young leaves, the new growth. So on those branches is where you'll most likely see them. When it's better if you catch it while the branch is still green, then you could see where this scale is, as opposed to letting it harden off and become more mature, because then the scale blends with the color of the branch. So basically, there's another one here. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's when the scale starts to mature. I'm just gonna flip it over because I'm not trying to reinfest it. So when the scale mature, it becomes brown and it sticks to the plant and it doesn't really move. So that's when you really want to get in there and make sure you remove it. I would say to use a latex, a glove, latex glove or whatever glove, because this plant does produce a sap when the leaf or the plant gets damaged, and it could be irritating to some. Uh, I've been dealing with this plant so much that I'm not sensitive to it. But if it's your first time getting this plant, I would highly recommend that you use a glove. So when the scale is, so basically you have to go around and check little by little, all of it. What I like to do is, I don't have much fingernail, but I do have some. So I just go around and scrape it using my fingernails. It's kind of gross, but anyway. And then wipe it off. I find that's easier than with the clip, than with the Q-tip, because then my fingernail could just scrape a whole bunch of them at one time. And then I will go back and rub it down with alcohol in case there's any eggs anywhere. The eggs are usually the mature scale puts lady eggs underneath the shell, so that you can't just spray it off with water or anything like that, because it's really not going to come off. You really have to physically scrape it off. So when this plant is this size, it's easy enough to do. You just go around. It likes to also go underneath the leaves, because technically the leaves underneath the leaves should be just nice and green with a nice vein. But then you'll sometimes see little bumps trying to form. Gross. So you remove them. This plant, though, my goodness, it's just like you get comfortable fighting scale with it. The first time you get grossed out. After a while, you get used to it. It's still a worthwhile plant because it's absolutely gorgeous. It allows you to create a tree from scratch if you want, which is what I'm trying to do here, and make it look like you wanted it to look. I'm trying to do a really nice full canopy with a thick trunk. I find that the way to thicken the trunk is you have to take it outside. The wind is what's gonna really thicken the trunk. In the wintertime when can't put it outside because it's going to die, I'm in a zone 5 or 6, which is Canada, Toronto to be exact. So what I do is that I would take the stem and just go back and forth. Give it a really good shake. I hold on to the pot and then I just shake it. When you do the shaking of this plant, do it away from other plants, because if there's an opportunity for the scale to just jump and travel to another plant, this will be the time that it will do it. So generally, when I want to give it a good um, shake like this, I do it um, away from the other plants. This is how you're gonna strengthen the stem so that it's nice and thick. Um, yeah, outside is the best. I would, this sapling here, when summer comes, I'm just gonna put this outside as it grows this trunk. Um, Last summer, this sapling was exactly the same size as this sapling turned into this. And look at the size difference of the trunk. So if you want thicker trunks on your tree-like plants, they have to go outside. But keep in mind, when you put it outside, it's going to end up coming back with bugs. So what I do is I make sure that I change the soil, shake it off, wash it off, dunk it in a soapy mix, and then repot it for the winter. We're in the winter right now. There is some growth. As you can see, there's growths. There's new leaves. And then I just leave it alone. In terms of watering, um, I water from the bottom in the wintertime, and I just do that to prevent fungus gnat. That's another thing. Fungus gnat also love this plant. Everything loves this plant. So I water from the bottom. What you'll find when you water from the bottom is that if you have a hard water or a lot of salt content on the water, you'll get these little dots on the edge. That's the plants trying to shoot out the salt. In the summertime, what I'll do is I'll flush this plant before I put it, no, in the fall, I'll flush this plant before I put it in a new soil to be able to remove as much of the salt buildup as possible, and also the salt from the fertilizer. So this plant is pretty forgiving in a sense that it'll take full sun. It prefers bright and direct light. You can put it in a darker corner, not a no light corner, but a darker corner, and it'll live. It won't thrive, and you probably won't get much growth. But if you're not trying to grow your plant and you just want it to look like, if this is the size that you like, and you just want it to keep like this, and you put it in a darker corner, it'll be fine there. It'll stay green. It'll stay beautiful. What underwatering this plant can tolerate, overwatering, you'll kill it. Root rot is one of those things that this plant is susceptible to. Other than that, it's a beautiful, gorgeous plant. And when it gets to be about 3, 4, 5 feet, this is really give you that, like, tropical, not tropical, but foresty, sit under a tree with a good book kind of vibe. So I would definitely recommend this plant. Again, it allows you to play with it to create the canopy that you want. Could tie these two together if you want the plant to come up this way and be full like this, or you could just let it be. I'm not really one of those let it be kind of girls, so I do manipulate my plant. I kind of have an aesthetic in mind, and the plant has an aesthetic that it wants. I have an aesthetic, the plant has an aesthetic, and it's a battle between who gets to win. So the branch will grow what the branch wants to grow, and I will pin them up or push them down to try to get the look that I want. So this is why this plant is perfect for bonsai, because when it's still young, you could really manipulate it. Because if I tie this down, to the trunk, I could get more of an open look to this plant. So versatile, so flexible, so gorgeous. It comes in a variety of color. There's this one which is your standard basic Ficus Benjamina. It comes in a darker green. It comes in a neon, like chartreuse or a light green. It comes in green and yellow variegation, or kind of cream. It also comes in a black and white variegation. I've tried to propagate the black and white variegation. That plant is a little more fussy, and it died on me. I haven't given up. I'll go back in the spring and get another specimen and try to propagate it and do what I do with this plant. Now, as you can see, I'm touching this plant a lot. What I'm going to do, though, after I finish this video, is make sure I wash my hand well before I go touch my other plant. Because when you have a major outbreak, pest outbreak in your house, you're the culprit most of the time, along with any flies that you may have or what have you. Because you're the one that's most likely go, good morning, and go touch this leaf, and they'll touch this other leaf, and you're just spreading the scale or the spider mite from plant to plant to plant. So if you have a problem, you're the problem. So make sure you practice proper hygiene, plant hand hygiene, and make sure you wash your hands in between touching your plant, because basically you don't want to grow a collection, invest time, money, and just for you to be the problem. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And thank you for spending the time with me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.